Hey everyone, welcome back to the stream. So let's get Power Wash Simulator started up. There we go. Hope everyone's doing fine today. Let's see, I should make sure my mic is working right. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Let's get this all put together. Yeah. You're over here. So, I apologize last time if I didn't respond to your comment right away on the chat. During the early part of the stream, I had the chat incorrectly sized, so your comment didn't appear on my screen. It was buried underneath here. So I think maybe Alex, if you're seeing this, you are the only one I think that might have affected. It was affecting Evra. Okay, that's fine. Yes, go away. But I caught it, kind of right there. He kind of pointed it out. So, but I think Alex, you got delayed before I saw your message. So, thank you for the message. Okay, so I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I'm having an okay Sunday so far. We'll start in with this, get going with this as I am chatting and waiting for people to show up, if anyone. Let's just go ahead and get this started. Dirt Finder, I've got a frankly ridiculous situation on my hands. You see, some of the local children have been coming down with a curious and unsightly form of dermatitis, and a few fretful folk have been putting it down to the condition of the recreational facilities. It's all nonsense, of course, but if we could just humor them and give the whole thing a thorough hose down, I'd be most grateful. So we'll make $600 from this job. Some details. Is this the Dirt Finder General? Got your details from a certain Harper Shaw, as there is an alleged dirt problem at the local playground. So there you go. Let's go ahead and start. Go inside. Okay, continue. I got a cord hanging down. It's interfering with my keyboard. Okay. So yeah, hope everyone's doing good. Hey Evra, how you doing? Happy Sunday. Is it still Sunday over there? I mean, it must be, right? Because it's Sunday morning here, so I'd imagine nobody's flipped over into Monday yet. Yes. Is that a stupid question? So yeah, nothing to report really about the games this morning. They went fine. I did have a little trouble with just finished my late lunch, early dinner. Huh, cool. I did have a little trouble with Lego this morning. It crashed on me twice within a span of 2 minutes. A little bit concerning. But I think because maybe the theory I have is that I was using a particular character both times it crashed. It's like I can't remember what his name is, but it's the guy on the Republic side with the eye patch. I had him going and it crashed both times, so maybe there might be a bug with that guy. Who knows? So I switched over the third time. I switched over to a different character and it worked fine. So I'm probably just not going to use that particular character. He's not useful for any reason. Other than that, the game's went pretty okay. You know, no complaints. We're starting a section in God of War that's like an optional area. And we're going to be on, after we finish this optional area, which is pretty large, it's Vanaheim, we're going to swap over to the optional area in Alfheim. So it's going to be a while before we get back to the main quest, because they're big areas, as I remember. So we're going to take a break from the main quests in God of War Ragnarok for a little bit, and do some side stuff. There's over 40 optional bosses in the game. We've done 4. We've done 4 hated. Is that what they're called? Hateful? Hateful. So there's still like, there's a good 40 more to go, and we haven't even started them. Whereas with the story bosses, there's 20 in total, and we've already done 10 of them. So we're way ahead of where we should be at the story bosses, and way behind on where we should be on the optional bosses. So I'm going to be working on optional stuff for a little bit. Trying to get Vanaheim taken care of. It's a big area. I think there's more stuff in Vanaheim than anywhere else in the game. So. And we're about, I want to say we're a quarter of the way through all that stuff. That's a very bright bench. So I am toying with the idea, I haven't really decided yet, of upgrading my computer. The one I have is not really that old. I think I built it 5 years ago. And when I build computers, I always build pretty high-end computers so they'll last for a while. 5 years is less time than it should, be active. I usually keep my computers about 10 years or so, and by the time they're ready to be replaced, it's time to replace them. But a couple of things happened that made me think that I might want to start thinking about replacing this one. One, my C drive got full. I got a notification that my C drive was full. Now when I did my computer, I did a small SSD drive, and remember this is 5 years ago, so I just got like a 500 gigabyte drive. Basically just to hold the operating system. I didn't really want anything being written to that. Now it's the C drive, so you know how that goes. Stuff's going to write to it whether you like it or not. So if nothing ever wrote to it, it would have been fine. But I got a notification that it was full. I cleared a bunch of space. I deleted a bunch of temporary files and all that kind of stuff. But it did get hit with a drive full notification. So what is wrong with this bin? There you go. Ah, there you are. And the other reason is that I have Windows 10 on here, and Windows 10 is, of course, being retired by Microsoft, which means there will be no further security updates, which is probably bad. The upgrade to Windows 11 is free for me. I don't know if it's free. I think it's free for everyone, but the problem is, apparently, my motherboard does not comply with their security requirements, and so they won't let me do it. Now, there's ways around that. My computer is perfectly capable of running Windows 11. And you could override that security check. So Microsoft's solution to that is, well, get a new computer. That's kind of rude. Some people can't afford new computers. I mean, certainly. You know, for me, money is tighter than it used to be. I used to have plenty, and then we lost half of our income. So, and so I do have to watch it a little bit. You know, I can't just go willy-nilly spending on money all left and right. So, we shall see. We shall see. I sort of started messing around with PC Part Picker. I did actually build the whole system, but you know, you kind of start off with your dream system, and then you know you have to break it back down or bring it back down to reality. So the system I built, the system that I would really like to have, is about $8 grand. That's a little bit crazy. So now it's time to start cutting it back so it's reasonable. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, I might. We'll see. We'll see if I want to build a new one or not. I certainly don't have $8 grand lying around to spend on the computer. Oh, one bench. How we doing? We're 1% clean. Woohoo! Boy, look at this place. Another bench over here. Ever did you guys ever do the Saints Row thing? Was it Saints Row? What were we talking about last week? We were after some trophy. I think it was. Can't remember what game we said it was for. Got out of hell. Was it? That's what it was, right? Did you guys ever do that? Oh, cool. So you got somebody to help you out with that. All right, cool. That's good. Yeah, I'd have done it with you, but I think we did that on Xbox or something. I don't think I have that system anymore. Not that you can't get it probably for cheap on Steam or PlayStation. Ta-da! Playing through the reboot. Arya, how are you finding that? I'm actually genuinely curious because I played it kind of right when it came out, and it was a bit of a mess, I gotta say. It was a bit of a buggy mess. But I'm curious as to how much they patched it and if it's working better now. I had intended to play that game. Even after checking it out and seeing how bad a state it was in. I played it after launch too, and the launch version was just terrible. Shady were pitch black inside. Yeah. There were some serious bugs in that game. I hope Volition got a chance to fix it before they got taken down. I do remember. So I was trying to do the reviews, right, where you give stars and then they come in defend their restaurant with the guys, and they come in waves, right? And the waves of guys, some of them would get stuck really far away on an overpass, and you couldn't go to them because it would fail the mission, it would fail the activity if you like left the area too far, and they were too far away to shoot, and they wouldn't come to you, so you were stuck. And that was, to me, that was kind of the last straw. I mean, there were some bugs here and there, but that was like a game-breaking one. And that was the point at which I put it down. Like, okay. It runs fairly okay even on last-gen systems now. The game itself is okay. Really shameful as a game is. On its own is fun. Yeah. I had, yeah, like I said, I had intended to play it. I even started to go so far as to start a checklist for it. Then I just kind of, I don't know. For no particular reason, it just got bumped for other stuff. And I ended up, I think, throwing away the checklist. It wasn't very far in. I could play it someday, I suppose. Maybe I'll check it out again, see how fixed it is. You have to? Did you play through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? No, it wasn't called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What was it called? Agents of something. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a TV show. Right? Agents of Mayhem. That's the one I'm trying to come up with. I don't know. That one's not required. It's not an actual part of the series. Right? It's a spin-off. I played some of that. It was alright. I don't know. I wonder about Volition. I think they were making some pretty weird decisions late in their existence. Quite sure what they were thinking sometimes. This is a tricky area to get into. There we go. Yeah, Agents of Mayhem. Not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's a different thing. I actually watched that show some, kind of when it was new. As I've stated before, I don't watch a lot of TV, so. But I watched a little bit of that. It was okay. Uh, no, I don't have the one. And even please in the alternate universe that God created, where the saints are, yeah, are retconned. Yep, that's right. Yeah, it's the one where they become cops or something. They become the good guys. But yeah, you're right. It's directly tied to that. One of Johnny Gat's wishes. I don't know. It was fine. Um, it wasn't great or anything, but it was fine. I think it got a little repetitive. Is the issue with that one? Like all the bases were very generic and the same. So it got kind of boring. But I don't know. It was fine. I liked it well enough. It kept my interest for a few hours. So this morning, I went to in Immortals Phoenix Rising. I went to the back to the beginning area, figuring we'll just clean this up because there's a lot of stuff still back in there that I hadn't gotten to, like right at the beginning of the game before I left for the second area. So I thought we'll go back there. It'll be a nice, easy, simple little playthrough because it's the beginner area. It's going to be super easy for me at this point. Not so much. I think parts of it are probably that way, but like the islands and stuff around that are kind of satelliting around that one area, those are not beginner areas. Let me tell you, I was getting my butt kicked. I guess they differentiate the enemies by color. So the red ones are the kind of the beginner ones. And then I've seen red. I've seen the other color I saw. Was it yellow? I can't remember. I mean, they're the same enemies. They just have different colors. That one of the complaints about that game that everybody has is that the enemies aren't very unique. There's not enough of them, which is probably true. There's probably only about 5 or 6 or 8 different enemy types, not counting bosses. Anyway, I ran into some purple enemies. Purple is the toughest. And, yeah. Had to hightail it out of there. They were killing me. So I thought, we'll go in here. We'll just clean this area up. We'll get a few things that we can apply to our, our task list. It'll be a nice, easy day. Yeah, not so much. And I still didn't finish it. There's still stuff back in there to do, but I'll leave it for another day. I'll continue on with the story next week, I think. Or at least explore the area that I'm in right now, which is, what's it called? I don't remember. It's the Aphrodite area. So yeah, I mean that was fun. It was difficult, and like I said, I had to run out of there, but still I enjoyed it. For getting my butt kicked. It was a good time. I quite like that game. you know, it is an Ubisoft game, so it does play kind of like Assassin's Creed. Oh no, can't have that. Which of our games have we not talked about yet? Dragon Ball. I do very much feel like Dragon Ball, you have to be prepared for the fact that you're going to be spending a lot of time watching the movie. That's just one of those games that's very cutscene heavy. I think I talked about that last week. So I mean, it was no different this week. I spent a lot of time just watching, which is, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's an interesting story, sort of. I mean, it's not the most deep story ever written, but it's fine. I may end up calling this episode like the dumbest decisions ever made. Because there's like a couple of them that were just baffling as to what the hell these people were thinking. Especially Vegeta. I mean, I won't spoil stuff, but I don't understand what... Talk about easily manipulated. What's wrong with you, dude? Okay, nice. It seems like a lot of my questions about that game revolve around Vegeta. I don't understand that character at all. It's an anime game. I had the same thing with Naruto at 10-15 minutes of cutscenes and then 3-minute long fight. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess that's just the style of the game. It's you know, it's fine. I have no problem with it. It's just different than what I'm used to, I guess. Okay, that's all right. Excuse me, sorry guys. So, we haven't talked about the Saboteur yet, have we? I mean, not really much to say this week. I had a nice short mission in the Saboteur. So I get to spend a lot of time doing actual sabotage stuff. It was nice. So I calculated in the Saboteur that if we do one mission per episode, which I can't guarantee we will because sometimes those missions are chained together. But if we did one mission per episode, we would have to do something like 27 sabotages per episode to like finish at the same time with all the, the free play sabotage stuff. Which is actually totally reasonable. I'm running around 30, 35, sometimes higher than that, sabotages per episode. It's totally dependent on how long the missions are, right? So, I mean, you just don't really ever know. They could be 40 minutes long. Like this last one was like, I think it was over in about 10 minutes or so. And then I had 45 minutes of time that I could just spend doing free targets. So I haven't edited that one for today. That's actually on my list of things to do today. That's my Sunday edit. But I want to say that I probably got way over what I, that 27 target. So just because that mission was so short. Did I talk about the RDX? I think I did talk about the RDX thing last week. The bug in that game that caused me all kinds of problems last week. Which is somewhat annoying, but I guess you don't need Super RDX for any reason. It would have been, other than for the purposes of getting that perk, which I then had to subsequently buy instead of earning. You don't really need Super RDX. RDX will work fine for the purposes of sabotage. It just doesn't work for killing people. That's what I was trying to use it for. But yeah, unfortunately that bug is there, and once it converts back to regular RDX from Super RDX, there's no getting it back. It's gone. So, if I had known that, I would not have gotten it until I was ready to do that one perk. Or I would have gotten, I would have set up to do the mission that I wanted to do it in, and then gotten the Super RDX before doing that, just before doing that mission, so it didn't disappear. But I didn't know. And even if you do know, that is a tough mission. The chances of you dying, and if you die, that same bug is going to hit where you lose your Super RDX. So, you'd have to do it perfectly on the first try. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use the RDX or the Super RDX anyway. So, there's like no guarantees. Okay, this thing. What's going on with you? Huh. That one's clean. Thought I saw one that was, maybe not. Okay, these are fine. Okay. There you go. That's looking pretty good. Let's see. Should we put on a extension? Let's put on an extender. That way we can get further, right? So, I was thinking about this. I think it was last night. What games are coming out that are of interest to anybody? You know, I can't think of anything that I'm actually waiting on right now. I might be forgetting something. Highly possible. But right now, I don't feel like there's anything that I'm actually super hyped about at the moment. If you guys have any interesting games coming up. Of course, for me, I think as I said before, I try to stay away from gaming news, kinda. A lot of times something will hit that I have absolutely no clue. It comes out of left field for me. Like, what was the last thing that happened with Expedition 33 was one like that. Like, that came out of left field. I had no clue. I don't know if that was a hyped game that everyone was waiting on. For me, that was just like, suddenly there it is. Oh, Ghost of Yoshi. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I do want to play that one. I want to play Ghost of Tsushima on my channel at some point. There I go telling you guys about a future IP that I'm not supposed to do that. But that's a game I do want to get to. And I have played a little bit of it. Not all of it. It's one of those games that I played for a while and then I stopped because I was like, I should play this on my channel. And then I want to play yeah, that one as well. Yeah, that's true. That's a game I want to play. But that was kind of the same thing for me. It's not like it wasn't that I was unaware that it was coming. I had seen something at some point, like some time ago, like maybe a year or two ago, that it was going to come. But then all of a sudden there it is. And people are playing it on their channel. Yeah, I definitely want to play that one for sure. Actually, both those games. Those are on my list of things that I want to get done at some point. Well, I can't imagine why the parents were upset about this playground being dirty. Yeah, so I've tried to stay away a little bit, mostly from Ghost of Yotei. Am I saying that right? I've seen just a little bit of it being played. Not much. Like no more than about 5 minutes or so. Just to kind of get a feel for what it looked like. I don't want to... spoilers, but I have heard good things just recently about that game. Yeah, I definitely want to play that. Look at that, we're at 12%. I take it you're gonna play, Deborah? Did you play the first one? Oh, you don't have the system for the second one? Is that a PlayStation 5 sort of game? Xbox Series 1. Xbox. What is that called? The new Xbox. Yeah. Let's see. Did I skip over? I had a PlayStation 4. Yeah, I think so. I'm misremembering, but yeah, I did. Because then I got a PlayStation 3 like later on, long after 4 had come out, and I got it for specific games, which I used it for. I still have it. In fact, it's still set up. I took down this PlayStation 4. I don't think there's anything on there that I would need to use it for. I could do anything on there on the PlayStation 5, I think. But there's still some PlayStation 3 games that you can only play there. What did I play on the PlayStation? The God of War games. Like the God of War spin-offs. Ascension, Ghost of Sparta, Chains of Olympus, I think are only on PlayStation 3. I don't think you can play them on 5. There is actually one other game that I know of that I want to play that is only on PlayStation 3. I think it's a PlayStation exclusive and it never came to another platform. And it was only on 3. And so it's a game that's being lost. They really need to port it. Because you can't play it anymore. Like, who has a PlayStation 3 still? But it is a game that I do want to do at some point, and I need to get it done because, who knows how long my PlayStation 3 is gonna work. That was a system I bought used, and it held out. I mean, it's a good system. It didn't give me any troubles, but it is like, how old is that system now? Pretty old. I haven't run it in forever. Who even knows if it still works right now? I got pretty lucky with my PlayStation 5. I know for a long time they were hard to get, scalpers and all that. And I absolutely 100% refuse to buy from a scalper. There's no way. That's actually questionable ethical standards to be scalping stuff like that. That's ridiculous. But so I wouldn't do that. But I did get it from a retail place. So I got it not right away, but too long after they came out. Maybe a year after they came out. So. But yeah, you did have to kind of watch the like where they were being released and jump on top of whatever was local. I did get lucky, and I think it was I got it at a Target, or yeah, I think it was a Target. And they didn't advertise it nationally like a lot of places do. They wouldn't ship it. It was just local thing. So I happened to be able to get one as they dropped. But yeah, that whole situation was ridiculous for a while. And I'm sure it won't be the last time. I'm sure it will happen again when the PlayStation 6 comes out. So no football today, in case you were wondering. My team plays on my team, if I could spit that word out, played on Thursday night. And I didn't get to watch it because the NFL placed it behind a paywall. And I'm embarrassed to tell you guys how many subscription services I already have. I have kids, so they watch them. And I'm not going to pay for any more. I have drawn the line. That's it. We're doing this many, and we're not doing any more. And I'm not going to do it because it's gotten to be insanely ridiculous. So I couldn't actually watch the game. But we won, so it makes me happy. Especially given my team is riddled with injuries this season. We're basically playing with our backups and cheerleaders. Somehow we keep winning. That's pretty good. Actually, our backup quarterback is quite impressive. If Purdy doesn't watch out, he's going to lose his job. So yeah, I'm going to say one more thing about Lego. And I may have mentioned it last week as well. But I'm beginning to get to a point where I'm dreading the ground assaults in that game. They are not easy. I mean, they're not. They're legitimately hard, and it's all because of the time limit. If it wasn't for the time limit, they'd be a piece of cake. I mean, at that point, it's just a matter of attrition. The enemy AI doesn't build stuff, so it starts out with whatever it starts out with, and if anything you destroy remains destroyed. They don't rebuild or anything. So, you know, if there's no time limit, it's really, you can just attrition them down, basically, you know. But that time limit is seriously brutal sometimes. And I think oh, that's a pretty cool picture. Yeah, check that out. I think I've noticed a pattern with the Lego ground assaults, and it's a little bit tricky to explain, but so there's 16 planets, right? And when you open a planet, it'll start out as either Republic controlled or Separatist controlled. So 8 of each. So there are 2 characters in the game that you can only get by having all of the planets either Separatist controlled or Republic controlled at the same time. So you have to have all 16 planets Republic controlled, and then you'll get a character, and then you got to flip them all over to get all 16 Separatist controlled to get the other character. So I did the first one. So when you first start, they're 8 and 8. So I did 8 Separatist planets to flip them over to Republic controlled, and got the blue character, the Republic character, which was Emperor Palpatine. And oh, we got a message. Just a second. Did you hear that the mayor cat Ulysses is missing? The whole town's on the lookout for him in time for the festival. We won't have spring till he's put that hat on. Ah, dang it. It took too long. I didn't see it come up. To be honest, if I had to wear that hat, I'd go missing. Okay. So yeah, I did that, and we got the blue character. And now my job is to flip them all back over the other way. So we did the 8 planets, and now we have to do 16 planets to get them all from blue back to red. I have noticed, okay, so that's the setup, right? I have noticed that those 8 planets that you did to flip from red to blue, flipping them back from blue to red, which means this is the second time you've done them, those are the hard ones. When you compare them against the ones that you haven't done yet, the ones that started as blue, and now you're flipping them to red for the first time, those are much, much easier. So I think the second time you do them, they've got them set up to be much harder. Than the first time you do them. And you got to do each one twice, ultimately. You have to do each one twice, ultimately, if you plan it out right. If you don't plan that out, and you just like do them willy-nilly, you're going to be doing a lot of them over again, because if you want to get those characters. I mean, if you don't care about the characters, then you don't have to, but you guys know me, I'm going to get all the characters. So yeah, those damn Republic assaults. Sometimes I don't know what they even expect me to do. There are certain buildings, so there's basically 3 types of buildings. Or not 3 types, there's a lot of types of buildings, but 3 styles? I don't know what you would call them. 3 materials they're made out of. There's the regular ones, and those you can destroy with anything. No big deal. Then there's the silver ones, and those can only be destroyed with explosives. So vehicles that have explosives, there's only a few of those. And then there's the gold ones, which can only be destroyed with like energy weapons. And of course, each side has different vehicles and stuff, right? So just because I knew how to do it with the Republic side doesn't mean I knew how to do it with the Separatist side. Like which vehicles to use to do which kind of things. And I'm kind of learning the Separatist ones now. Sort of gotten them down. I'm on my second or third week of doing Separatist missions. But yeah, the thing about the Separatist vehicles is I think there's only one vehicle that'll do gold buildings. And you don't get it until you have at least 4 bases, or maybe even 5 bases. So the first thing, if you want to destroy gold buildings, either take in, you get to pick a vehicle to take in with you. So take that vehicle in with you. But then you've just got the one vehicle. If it gets destroyed, yeah, then you don't have it anymore. Or get 5 bases. And sometimes that's not so easy to do. And the whole time, of course, you're working on a time limit. You know, if you got to get 5 bases and half the bases have gold stuff on them that you can't destroy until you get the bases, then you can't, you know, what are you supposed to do? And sometimes I feel like that's what's going on. Like they put this last one that I did this morning had just exactly the right number of bases that you could take over to get that 5th base. Like a lot of times you'll destroy an enemy placement, but it won't be a base. It'll just be, you know, some placements. There's nothing to build there. You can't build there. So that doesn't count. And then other times, you know, they'll have gold buildings on there, so you can't destroy those, so you can't take over that base. So you can only take over the bases that are actually bases and don't have any gold things on them, unless you have the vehicle to do it with, that you bring in with you. And it's the same thing with the silver ones too, for that matter. I've started to learn the vehicles that you need to use. Like the spider drone is for the gold ones. And super tank, I think, is for the silver ones. But both of those are heavy air assault vehicles, which require 5 bases. So, and you can bring one in, or the speeder pirate. What is it called? The pirate speeder tank, I think it's called. It's pretty zippy, and it can destroy silver emplacements. So that's one I like to take because it's, you know, it's pretty quick, and you can get around and destroy the silver stuff fairly easy. But yeah, like I said, once it gets destroyed, it's gone. That's it. You can't. I don't think you can build that one. So you only get one. You gotta be careful with it. Anyway, they can be pretty tricky. They can be a pain. Okay, what do we got going here? Let's do this. And then the other thing about the Lego Star Wars game is some of the things you need to do to get the canisters are really obscure. I mean, just really super. I feel like there comes a point where it's like, how am I supposed to have known to do that? Yeah. Sometimes they make it overly weird. Like the one I did today. which I ended up having to look up because I was completely stuck on what they were expecting me to do. You had to like destroy this thing to build a crab vehicle, and then the crab vehicle you had to use to go backward in the level and destroy these little tiny small crab thingies. I mean, how are you supposed to know to do that? Just, I don't know. I guess if you're, I don't know. It's really, this game, it's kind of the first time I've ever kind of struggled with a Lego game. Normally I could just run through them. You know, they're not meant to be hard. They're meant to be kind of easy. They're semi-children's games. But yeah, I question as to whether a kid can actually do some of the stuff they're asking them to do. I don't think that ever happens again. I could be wrong, but I feel like this is the only game that they made this hard. Okay, what are we missing here on this stupid pole? What am I stuck on? I don't know. I don't know why this pole won't clean. About to give up on this one. I don't really understand what's going on here. Is it through here? There you go. Jeez. Let's see. Hang on just a second here, guys. I'm just curious. Okay. All right. Hang on a second here, guys. Too much coffee. I'm gonna take a quick bio break. I'll be back in just a minute. So be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, right. I just realized when I got up that I never turned the fan off. So I hope that wasn't coming through the microphone. It probably shouldn't have been. I've got the microphone set to directional, so it should only really be picking up me mostly, but hopefully it didn't mess with the quality of the sound. I usually keep that fan off when I'm recording for obvious reasons. But it does get warm in this room, so I turn it on in between recordings because it does get hot in here. That computer acts as a heater. Okay, let me just double check that this is going okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Cool. Well, it looks a little better, right? It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. So we go up top. I'm in up. Excuse me, sorry. Ooh. This may be the first level we don't finish in one episode. We might. But we're only 24% of the way through it. I did this one before. I can't remember how far I got into this game or how many levels I did. I definitely did this one. I think I went to the skate park. I do remember the skate park. I think that's as far as I got the first time I did this. So I don't know how many levels in that is. And I'm honestly not sure if I finished it or not. Skate park is pretty extensive, I remember. Okay. Was a train? Huh. Must not be one that I know. I don't remember a train. That would be hard. A train has a lot of parts. Like a real train? Not like a toy train or anything? There's a lot of little pieces and parts and nooks and crannies on a train. Look at that, we have $129. Nice. Yeah, one of those old locomotive trains. Yeah. Huh. I don't know how far we're going to go in this series. This is not something I necessarily intend to finish, but if we get to it, I'll be interested to see it. This is kind of one of those things we'll go, you know, until we decide it's no longer makes any sense to do it. But I'd like to see a train. That'd be interesting. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I have enough interesting things to talk about. Because, you know, you talk about the games, and sure, that's interesting to me anyway. But after that, it's like, well, what else do people want to know about? A lot of dinging going on. You still drive the Mustang? I still have the Mustang. Yeah. I don't drive it as much anymore. So for those of you who don't know, I have a 2017 Mustang. Yeah, it's not really my daily driver anymore. It used to be. But when my wife passed, I got her car. And she has a really nice Honda Accord, which is a really nice driver car. You know, a daily driver car to work and stuff. So I tend to use that more often than the Mustang. And by more often, I mean 90% of the time. I take the Mustang out just to keep it running, so it doesn't die. I did have to recharge the battery because I didn't drive it enough and the battery died in it. But yeah, I still have it. It's a good little car. It drives different than the Honda though, for sure. It's like it's weird to get into it now because it's so different than driving the Honda. It's like such a different driving experience. But yeah, I have it. I toyed with the idea of selling it because it is costing me money in insurance and stuff, and I don't drive it that much. But it is actually kind of nice to have a second car. If the Honda is like in the shop or something getting maintenance or whatever, it is kind of nice to have that second car. But yeah, we'll have that. I used to have a 69 Mustang. I may have talked about this in the past. It never ran. I was in the process of rebuilding it, and never really did get it running again. But you know, it was fun to work on. But it was too expensive. That was back when I was like a really broke college student kind of deal. Yeah, it was fun. That was fun. Little project for a while. It would have been fun if I'd actually got it to run. I don't really know why I started that project. I was just one of those really weird decisions that, I don't know. I guess I was bored. I have no idea why I decided I was going to rebuild a Mustang. And I went looking for one, and I found one in a junkyard. I think it was a 65 or 66 Mustang. It was in beautiful shape. Absolutely gorgeous Mustang. You know, parts had been pulled off of it because it was in a junkyard. But there was no damage on it at all. The reason it had been junked, though, was because it had been used in a felony. And apparently, when a car is used in a felony, you can no longer drive it. So he couldn't sell it to me. He couldn't sell me the body. They could only part it out. But that would have been that was a beautiful Mustang. But yeah, apparently, I did not know that. Once, I don't know if it's a specific, maybe if it's something super violent, or I don't know. Maybe it's any felony. But yeah, once a car is used in something like that, they have to junk it, which is interesting. Or at least that's That was what the deal was when I was looking many years ago. Is that still the deal? I don't really know. I ended up giving that 69 to my friend, who is a mechanic. I am not a mechanic. And he actually, I said, you can keep it. You can either redo it, sell it, do whatever you want with it. Because it was at his place, actually. Because where I lived at the time, there was no place to put it. And so he was keeping it for me. And ultimately, I came to realize I was never going to get back into it. So I was like, you know what? You can do whatever you want with it. I think he sold it. I was like, yeah, keep the money. It's, you know, consider it rent for the space. So I don't have any idea whatever happened to it. Just know it got sold. I sold it. I think I had to sign the pink flippers on that. But then I got the 2017, which is a very nice car. Okay, that looks better, right? Still at 1 star. What the hell? I think that goes up by 1 star every 20%. It's not exactly a complex formula. I was thinking about firing up Unreal Engine again, just to goof around in it. I had a thought about working on a mapping system, like when I say mapping system, like a mini map, and then a full-on, you know, you hit the M key to pull up a map, and how to do that such that it respects fog of war and all that, like areas you haven't seen yet are grayed out. Also so that it would respect, if you were doing like a Dungeons and Dragons style dungeon that has secret doors, that would respect the secret doors, so the players wouldn't be able to see that on the map until they actually found the door. And how that would do, and this actually kind of came from this game, to be honest. That you guys might remember. Was it the first week or the second week? we were kind of talking about how they do this game and using writable texture maps. Basically just alpha maps is what it is. And I think they use multiple layers on this game because there's different levels of grime. So there's at least 2, if not 3 or 4 grime layers. And I don't know for sure that that's how they do it, but if I were doing this game, that's how I would do it. Probably it's with a texture map that you can write to. And I was thinking about that. And this was something that, I mean, this is not just, it's not as random as it thinks. This is something that's been in the back of my mind for a while. About how to do a map like that. How would you do that? Obviously, you would use a camera for the mini map, like off to, you know, not part of the level that the player would go to. It's just pointed at a texture map. But yeah, I would use some sort of, probably some sort of writable texture. Maybe 2 layers worth, one for the secret doors and one for the fog of war. And then of course the third one, which is just a static map that sits underneath all that, so that that's just the, you know, the fully revealed map. I don't know. I was thinking about pulling it out and playing with it. I don't really know that much about materials. To be honest, it was never my area. I was kind of interested in pulling it out and seeing what I could do with it. Seeing if it was interesting enough to play with. I do have Unreal Engine on this computer. I think I have, I can't remember what version I've got, but it is Engine 5, or version 5, which is the latest. Right? I think so. Thinking about messing with it. But I would have to figure out what I was doing. Like I said, materials are really not my thing. I know the very, very basics, but there are certainly people who are much, much more experienced with them than I am. I would like to learn. I love learning new things. One of the reasons that I started this channel was because I knew nothing at all about how to make a videos. And it's like, which is pretty obvious if you go back and look at my first video. But, you know, it was an opportunity to learn a new skill. And, yeah, I've learned quite a bit. I wouldn't say I've mastered it, but I've learned quite a bit. There's always more to learn. I'm the kind of person that once I master something, I get bored and basically stop doing it because, you know, it doesn't interest me anymore. That's why I changed positions at my job, actually. I did metabolism work for some years, and not to say that I knew everything there was to know about metabolism chemistry, but I knew everything there was to know about metabolism chemistry as it pertained to my job. I'd been doing it for enough years that I had done everything there was to do in that particular context. And so I was getting bored. And I talked to my boss about it, and he, really, really nice guy, but he was, he did not want to let me go. Because I was his right-hand person, right? So he made noises about letting me switch to something different, but never actually did it until I finally gave him no choice in the matter. I basically quit and transferred to a new department. That's how I ended up in QA. I think I talked about this a little bit last time. Which was another really big learning opportunity because I knew next to nothing about how to do QA at the time. And I I mean, I'm the manager. I know quite a lot now, but there's always stuff that I'm learning. I just learned something new the other day, and so I haven't mastered it yet. I think I know a lot. I think I'm probably, this is going to sound arrogant, but I'm probably among the top 10 people in the world at what I do. And the reason that sounds arrogant is it's true, but that's because there's not really that many people in the world to do what I do. It's not because I'm so great at it that I'm better than everybody else. It's just there's probably only, a few dozen people in the world who do what I do. And I've been doing it long enough that, I've learned a lot of stuff. So. I know how it sounds, but it's not meant to sound arrogant. It's just that I have a lot of experience doing it. So, and not many people do. There aren't a lot of people in the entire world who know how to do what I do. Because it's kind of a niche field. What I do. There's lots of people in the world who do something similar for the FDA. We don't do work for the FDA. We do work for the EPA. So in the FDA world, there's quite a lot of people because that's pharma. Pharmaceuticals use FDA regulations, and pharma's a big industry. There's not a lot of EPA labs. In fact, pretty much all, well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of the EPA labs in the United States now reside under the same company. Other than the really tiny ones. So, including us. We are a part of that company. And there's only about, there's 3 big ones. Of the big ones, we are the smallest of the big ones. So when I say there's only a few people that do it, there's only a few people that do it. So. But anyway, that's how I still have a job. Because they would have a hard time replacing me, I think. They can't piss me off too much. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Anyway, I was talking about materials in Unreal Engine 5. They're gotten to be quite complicated. You guys remember the days of like Doom where a material was just a texture and you just placed it on a flat surface and that was that? Those days are long gone. Materials are their own thing now. They are very complicated. And you can do a lot with them. There's a lot of things you can do. When you think of materials, you think of like a picture that's sitting on a wall, right? But you can do quite a lot of things with materials now that materials are handled by the GPU. So you're not burning CPU cycles to do stuff with materials. So it's actually a convenient way to get some stuff done that doesn't actually cost you anything in terms of CPU cycles. So the more stuff you can offload to the materials, almost the better. Right? So at least Yeah, I mean, I think that's still true. I hope that's still true. Um, I am, again, a little out of date with my knowledge of how programming works anymore, especially game programming. But that used to be the case, and I think it's probably still true. The GPU tends to be underutilized a lot of times. It's sitting idle waiting for the CPU to feed it information. I can't get under here. Why not? This looks like it's dirty, but I guess it's not. Fair enough. So yeah, anything you can do with a material that you don't have to use the CPU to do, you should do it. I mean, there's things called shaders, and there's actually there's, I used to know this, but now I've kind of forgotten all the details, but there's various shader types, pixel shaders, vertex shaders, geometry shaders, etc. You can actually use the shaders when you put them all together to make a material. You can use those to do quite a bit of stuff. Like a geometry shader in particular can actually do a lot of animation for you that you don't have to do on the CPU. Nice. Those people who make video cards they're bright folk. They know what they're doing. So yeah, I was toying with the idea of messing around with that. Not for any particular reason, just to do it. My days of programming games are pretty much at an end. I don't have the patience for it anymore. I used to have a lot of patience for it, but I just don't anymore. I got too many other things going on. And besides, there's people out who do it who are much more intelligent than I am. We're better at it. But I like to screw around with it every once in a while. Just for fun. The last thing I did, like the last time I was actually, I wouldn't say serious, but what's the right word? Kind of, I don't know, I guess seriously messing around in Unreal Engine 5 with the idea of actually writing a game. I actually did put together a pretty decent level. Now, I am not a level designer by any means, and I have discovered that level design is something that I'm not particularly great at. But I put together a level that I thought was okay. In fact, Michael's seen it. He saw when I, he asked when I threw it at him. So he looked at it. And then I started to add to it, but oh my god, it just takes so much time. And I just, like I said, I'm not that good at it. I did the first set of rooms, basically. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. But it took so long. And then I started adding on to it, and I got so burned out. And like I said, it's not a thing that I'm really that good at. So, that's kind of what the last thing that I did. And that's not even programming. That's just level design, right? I'm a programmer. If I'm anything, I'm a programmer. Or I used to be. I much prefer the world of C, or in the case of Unreal Engine, they have that visual thing that they use with the boxes and they connect them together with lines and whatnot. That's kind of like programming, but it's more of a, yeah, like a non-programmers thing to do, or shortcut, which is fine. It works perfectly fine. It's you know, it's valid to use. Personally, I would prefer to work in C++ myself, but I used it. It's, in fact, that's what I was using to do that last level that I was talking about. And it's perfectly good. It works fine. It is essentially programming. They're just tricking non-programmers into thinking they're not programming, but they are. So yeah, I did that one level, and then I started, like I said, I started working on expanding on it, and then I actually ended up, because I wanted to see what other people did, I ended up, I think I bought a level or got a free level or something, and I kind of connected them together and realized this person who was good at it, knew what they were doing, did so much better a job than I did at their. I thought I had put together something that was kind of decent. It was all right, you know. I thought it was fine, and then I connected their level to mine, and there was like, it was like a million times better than what I had done. And I think that kind of discouraged me because I came to realize there was no way I was ever going to like get anything decent. Okay, we just got a message. Howdy, Dirt Finder. Put everything on hold. My golf buggy's soiled like you wouldn't believe. Oh, that's the mayor. Mayor Jeff. Doc gave your details to a colleague who needs a hand with her new place in the suburbs. It's the old Dolph place, so I hope you don't get spooked easily. Oh. Okay, so the next time we start a new level, whatever that's going to be, we have a vehicle to warm up with, and then apparently it's a haunted house. So yeah, looking back on it, it may have been a mistake to download somebody else's level and compare it against the ones that I had done, because it definitely made me go, oh. Yeah, you're not good at this. And then I didn't want to do it anymore. So. I don't know. I think I still have that level somewhere. Buried deep in the hard drive somewhere. I don't know if it would run. That was probably with Unreal Engine 4. I think 5 came out about a year ago. So yeah. I think I mentioned before, when I do projects on, like when I was doing gaming projects, I was completely unrealistic, and I knew it was unrealistic at the time. I wasn't kidding myself or anything, but I try to do way too big a project for a single person to do, because that's what interests me, and yet I don't really have a team. You know, teams usually expect to get paid. I had no means of doing that. So. which is perfectly understandable and reasonable. Why are you still dirty? Oh, that'd do it. There goes a motorcycle. This thing. There you go. Well, that was easy enough. I know, right? It's a big level. We are definitely not going to finish this today. I don't think. And how long have we been going? I always have trouble finding the counter on this thing. Almost 2 hours now. Wow, really? Yeah, I guess so. How about that? How have we been going? How have I been talking that long? Jeez, what the hell, Ron? Dude. Lots of dinging. Slow. I was when I did the second level of episode 1 of Lego Star Wars, so it's Asajj Ventress. When you finish the level, it exits you out of it boots you out of the level with the characters that you control by default in that level. And what I had at that point was a Geonosian, a little bug with the wing guys. They are so slow. They might be. I thought C-3PO was slow, but I think they might be the slowest character in that game. I'm not sure which is slower, C-3PO or those little bug guys. They do not move fast. Each of these little, I've noticed each of these little floor tile thingies are their own little section. Like this is the yellow floor circle that I'm on right now. And there's the large blue floor. That's pretty cool. I guess that's actually 80% through the Skywalker Saga, but they went so overboard with the amount of the collectibles. Yeah, the Kyber bricks in that one. Aren't there like I can't remember what the number is, but it's insane. Isn't it close to like 1,000 of them? Or am I misremembering? I know it's a lot. And it's not like, you know, you get them constantly. You have to go find each individual one and figure out whatever puzzle it's behind. I guess I played a bit of that game. I guess in some of the levels, they kind of act as like the canisters. Am I wrong about that? Is it more? I don't remember what it was. 1,200? Okay, yeah. So it's like the same number as the Saboteur, except the Saboteur is much easier to get the thing. You just blow it up. Yeah, the Kyber bricks I remember being. A lot of them are very tricky to get to. We'll get to that game eventually. I will. Although it'll be a while. I am quite looking forward to actually seeing a revamped version of Batman. Lego Batman. That should be fun. Like in the style of the Skywalker Saga. That's a game that I'm looking forward to. Three challenges each level, a load of side missions, and trials on each planet. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I remember it being a very big game. I played it when it first came out, and it was still kind of a little bit buggy. This is one of the reasons why I don't play brand new games, because they tend to be like that. I remember, so in particular, there was a level I remember. And I don't know if it was I think it was a level, an actual, like you went in and did the level kind of thing. But you had to repair the Millennium Falcon. And I hit a bug with that. Something about having to lower the radar dish onto the Falcon, and it bugged out on me. And I couldn't do it. And the only way to fix it was to like redo the level or something. And that was, I think that's where I stopped, because I was like, it was like a long level. Like right at the end or something, and I just wasn't going to do it. At least that's kind of what I remember. I'm sure they fixed it by now. I do remember they patched that game a few times. But yeah, we'll get there eventually. I got asked a while ago if I was planning on doing the Horizon Lego game, you know, with Aloy. I don't know. I feel like I should, because Horizon, those are some of my favorite games. I think those are fantastic games. And I like Lego games. I just, for some reason, I can't really point a finger at why. It just didn't seem to really resonate with me. I haven't played it at all, but I probably will at some point. I don't know. I don't know, man. To me, those the Horizon world and the Lego like aesthetic don't really seem to mix that well. I don't know. But you would say that about anything, I suppose. Like, who would have thought Batman would have mixed with Lego? But it works fine. Also, it isn't by TT Games, it's by somebody else. So, it's not going to play the same. So did you start, when you did the levels, did you do them chronologically or did you do them release order? Did you start with 4, 5, and 6 or did you start with 1, 2, 3? Or are you one of those weird people that started with 7, 8, 9? I think if I were to do it, so when I did it, I did play it a little bit, not all the way. You guys might sense a theme. I don't finish a lot of games. I'm waiting for your Pirates of the Caribbean series. Those are actually the only movies other than Harry Potter I've actually seen. I have Lego. Yeah. Yeah, that's the next game that's coming up. So yeah, when I did that game, I started with 1, 2, 3. Well, I say that. I started with 1. I don't think I got past 1. I might have started in the movie 2. I think I got caught up in the, the Kyber bricks and stuff. The side missions. I didn't, I think I might have not gotten to movie 2. The thing about the Pirates games, I've seen all the movies, and I remember the first one pretty well. I could tell you what the first one was about. After that, I don't think I could tell you what they were about. That's one of those series that, even right after watching it, I probably couldn't tell you what it was about. They're kind of weird. I think I did episode 4 first, but then went back to episode 1 and played chronologically from there. Okay, yeah. Now, see, I say that, but I must have done 4 because I was, like I said, I was repairing the Millennium Falcon at one point. So I must have gone, I could swear I started with 1, but then I must have gone back into 4. Because I did play. I specifically remember fixing the Millennium Falcon, and you wouldn't have done that in episode 1, I don't think. Wouldn't make any sense. But anyway, what I'll probably do is the same thing I do with the Harry Potter series. Is as I'm getting to each movie, I'll watch that movie. The thing about the Harry Potter stuff is I'm kind of the same way with that as I am with the Pirates. I remember the first movie pretty well, but then after that they kind of blend together. And so as I was doing Harry Potter, I was actually watching the movies. Like I would watch the movie just before I started that section of the game. And that way I knew what I was doing. I think once we get to Batman 2 and they start actually having voice lines in the series, in the games, it might be easier to follow without having had to see the source material. Yeah, so getting into this little crevices is hard. So yeah, I can see why in the Clone Wars they did the Lego games the way they did them. Because the ground battles in that series, it's kind of a big part of the series. I mean, the war was it is the Clone Wars, right? So fighting over specific systems, that makes sense. I understand why they did it. I get it. I just think they made them a little bit overly, I don't know. I don't want to say overly they are difficult. Stupid time limits, man. I mean, I like the mechanic. It's just I think the time limits are a little tight sometimes. I debated on whether or not to turn on the extras with the ground battles. And what I ultimately ended up deciding was that I would turn them on once we got to the free play modes. That I would just turn on the extras. I'd have them off while we were doing story mode, and then in free play mode, I'd turn them on. Yeah, regardless of what we were doing. That seems reasonable. Okay, the slide is not okay. Because why? Gonna make me go down. Oh, there we go. That'd do it. Huh. You make me go back underneath, aren't you? You damn game. I do like that they tried something new with the Lego games. Actually, one of my favorite things, there we go. That's why we're this way. About doing long series like that, Lego or what's another one? I don't know. Anything that's been around for a long time that has a long series of games. One of the interesting things that I like to look at is how they changed over time, like with each subsequent game, what they kept, what they didn't keep, what they added in, and all that kind of stuff. To me, that's actually pretty fascinating. Like watching the evolution of a game through a series. And I do the same thing with like television shows, in so much as I watch them. For example, Star Trek. Go back and watch the original series, and then go watch a modern Trek and see how different it is. And then you can watch it evolve over time as you watch each series. And you can do the same thing with Doctor Who or like any long-running series. Same thing with comic books. Comic books are especially fascinating because DC and Marvel kind of started in the 30s, like the late 30s. I think specifically Marvel started, well, they were Timely Comics at the time, and they started in 38, I want to say, or 39. I think 38. But they only had like 4 books out in all of 38. And you can watch like their attitudes change over time as you go through the years, like the clothing, the technology, how they dealt with women, changed significantly over time. Of course, the war hit, and even by 39, they were talking about the war. The United States wasn't in the war at that time, but they were still talking about it quite a lot. In fact, for a long time, I don't know about DC because I don't read DC as much, but Marvel was fixated on the war for a long time. Every single book was about the war. Just about exclusively, in some form, it seemed like. And some of that stuff is, as you would expect, it's pretty racist. But I mean, that's how it was back in the 30s and 40s, especially when with the country you were at war with, you wanted to dehumanize them. That was kind of the point, right? So, if you can watch their attitudes change over time, the art styles change over time. It's one of my favorite things. Like the actual stories themselves, especially in the 30s, 40s, 50s, are ridiculous. They're bizarre. The science is very often completely wrong, but it's the best they had at the time. They didn't. I mean, they would get in trouble, right? Comics industry actually did get in trouble with Congress, the government, for being too progressive. And you read those stories today and you're like, oh my God, are you kidding me with this? But, for the time, you gotta read it with an eye towards, that's how things were back then. I'm not saying that was great, but that's how it was. The fact that Marvel had a black character in as one of the main characters in their series, even if he was treated like a stereotype, and he was, very blatantly, in fact. But they had him, which, I think is one of the reasons Marvel got in trouble with the government. So, yeah. But you can watch those sort of attitudes change as the years progress. Now that you understand that I have read a whole lot, I've read a great deal of the 40s Marvel comics. I've read all the 30s and a great deal of the 40s. And then bits and bats from other decades and stuff. It's not one of my primary things that I do, but I do read them from time to time. But they're sometimes difficult to get through. And they do them at that time, they were basically short stories. They did. So they had something like 50. Back then they had like 50 pages of comic book for each book, something like that. Much bigger than they are today. Today they're like, I don't know, 15, 20 pages long. But then they would have like 6 stories in each one. Like it wasn't one story all the way through. And it kind of gets to be a little generic. The bad guy always died. Like they didn't have recurring bad guys too much. They had a few, but not too many. Mostly it was Nazis or the Japanese that they were fighting. They never really talked too much about the Italians that I saw. I'm not really sure why. We were at war with Italy in 44, 45. But sorry, just keeping an eye on my chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. Washing down the floor. Anyway, yeah. There's a part of me that always thought I should be a sociologist because I really enjoy watching or observing how things evolve over time. Especially modern stuff, like starting from like in TV from the 60s, like in comic books from the 30s onward. Like how things change, what people's different attitudes were over time. It's interesting to see. I find it interesting. You guys probably don't find it interesting, but I do. What do we get? Is this the extraordinary Dr. Power Wash? We got your details from Cal. We've got a dirty old house in need of some TLC. Well, we're getting lots of jobs in that, aren't we? I still wonder why they use this fancy pants shock-absorbing rubber compound for the playground flooring and not good old-fashioned creosote. I don't know what creosote is. I assume it's some kind of hard substance. So yeah, sorry, what were we talking about? I don't remember. Something about how things change over time. I will say that I am on. I'm watching, as I mentioned last week, I'm watching Star Trek while I work at, because I work from home 3 days a week. Usually, that can vary, but usually. And what I do is when I work from home is I turn on Star Trek. So that I can... The reason being is I've seen most of Star Trek before, and I can turn that on and not have to like pay super close attention, so I can actually do some work. Because I'm auditing stuff, so... and I know you guys don't really know what that means, but you know, I'm looking at data, I'm looking at studies. So I have to pay some attention to that, you know. But I can turn on the TV while I'm doing that, and so anyway, the point of this whole story is that I am almost done with Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I started with Star Trek the original series. Started that, gosh, probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't go fast because, you know, why would I? I don't keep it on the whole day. I have other stuff to do besides auditing studies, so I only turn it on when I audit. And so it's maybe, I don't know, a couple of episodes here and there. Anyway, I'm at the very, very end of Deep Space Nine. I think I'm watching them on DVD. And I think I'm on season 7, which is the final season of Deep Space Nine, and I'm on like disc. I want to say there's 6 discs or 7 discs. I'm on the second to last disc. There's 4 episodes per disc, and actually in the last episode or the last disc, there's only 2 episodes, typically. So I'm right at the end of Deep Space Nine. It's starting. You can see it's starting to wrap up. They've got the full war with the Dominion going on. That's coming. You can see it's coming to a close, or to a head, really, is what I should say. Not to a close, but coming to some sort of climax. Like that. But yeah, that's another series that's fun. So Deep Space Nine was set in or was released in the. It started in the 80s because the Next Generation started in 87. So okay, no, so I'm wrong about that. Deep Space Nine started partway through the Next Generation's run, so it would have started in the 90s, early 90s. So we're in the 90s sometime at this point in the chronology of Star Trek. I'll be moving on to Voyager. So just like Deep Space Nine started during the events of the Next Generation, so too did Voyager start during the events of Deep Space Nine. So I'll be going slightly backward in terms of the time that it came out, once I finish up Deep Space Nine and start Voyager. I watched a good deal of Voyager at the time that it came out, in the 2000s. I can't say the same thing about Deep Space Nine. I didn't watch a ton of Deep Space Nine when it came out. I had other things going on. That was right in the height of well, I was going to say that was when I was in college, but no, that's not true either. I must have been doing something else. No, I definitely wasn't in college. Come to think of it, that's absolutely wrong. I was working at that point. So I just must not have been into Star Trek at that point in my life. But hey, the yellow floor got done. Or the yellow circle. Oh, so did the green circle. Hey, look at this floor. Wow. How about that? How did we get so much of this done? I'm sitting here chatting away, not really paying attention. And a lot of this got clean. Molly, shh. Guys, can you guys hear the dog? Ever, is that you? Are you still here? Dude, you don't have to sit on them the whole time that I'm here. That's, I appreciate the support, but man, that's above and beyond. It's what are we on, like 2.5 hours? Make it all dirty again. I don't think the power washer works that way, my bud. It just it only cleans. It doesn't unclean. I feel like what are we at? We're at 2/3. Basically have the playground equipment left, other than this little piece of floor right here. Let's see. We've been going for 2.5 hours. I'm feeling like we might want to halt this pretty soon and leave the rest of it for next time. Because for one thing, I feel like I'm out of stuff to talk about. I don't really know what else to say to you guys. Yeah, the blue floor is done. I've been running around doing my stuff, not just sitting here looking at your spritzing. Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't want to take up everybody's entire day. I don't even want to take up all my day. Because let's see, what have I got to do today? I've got to, I do still have to do my edit, which is Saboteur on Sundays, as you guys know. But then after that, I still got to work in the yard. My youngest child decided yesterday that she was going to make some stuff for dinner, which is great. Awesome when she cooks. Then I don't have to cook. She's not so good these days at cleaning up after herself. I gotta go clean up the kitchen. It's fine, though. It's fine. I don't mind. What's gonna be lunch? It's a good question. That is an excellent question. I mean, we have plenty of leftovers. Let's probably get into. I went grocery shopping. Oh, probably 4 or 5 days ago. And when I grocery shop, I get a lot of stuff. Like, I don't like to do it, so I do it all at once. And I get a lot of stuff, so it lasts like a month, right? That's fine. We filled up the freezer in particular. Like, it was stuffed full. Like, the point where the freezer shouldn't really be working because it needs a certain amount of space for airflow. And then a day later, my Butcher Box came. I subscribe to Butcher Box, which is, you know, a meat service that comes once a month. And that is a lot of stuff. And that all has to go in the freezer as well. And we looked at it and we're like, oh my god, what are we going to do with all this stuff? I got it in there somehow, but I took some stuff out to thaw out. So that we could, you know, use it up. But so that's part of what we did yesterday. We made steaks and mushrooms and mashed potatoes and all that kind of stuff yesterday. I've got other stuff in there that's thawing. I could probably make pork chops or something tonight. But yes, I am lucky enough that my children are old enough to fend for themselves if they have to. But I still try to make food for them sometimes, you know, more or less. Not sometimes, but a good chunk of the time. You know, it's either up to me or up to them. My wife is no longer with us, so it's not like anybody else to do it. So if I don't feed them, they gotta feed themselves. And that makes me feel bad. That's not good. They shouldn't have to feed themselves. Although my oldest is pretty much gone independent now. She, even when I make stuff, she doesn't come down and eat. she'll go get her own stuff. She's more than welcome to, but she usually doesn't. There's a green floor under there. But yeah, I mean, you know, my kids are old enough that they can pretty much fend for themselves, which is good because if they were younger, if my wife had passed when they were small, there would be no way I could do YouTube or anything else. I'd be too busy taking care of the kids, right? It's not like you can leave young children alone for long periods of time. So the fact that they were older, well, my oldest is not even a teenager anymore. She's in her 20s. My youngest is getting there. She's getting close to being out of her teens. So they're self-sufficient. I can leave them. They can do whatever they want. But yeah, just happened to work out that way. I mean, could have very easily gone the other way, and you know, I would have had to stop doing all hobby stuff in order to take care of the kids. Your father passed when he was 12? Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. That's hard on the kids. I mean, it was hard on me. Don't get me wrong, but you know, kids shouldn't have to lose someone, or any parent. Hey, the outer thingy's done. I said we were going to stop, didn't I? And that was about 10% ago. I at least want to get the floor done. That way next week we can concentrate on the equipment. I have been lucky enough that all of my parents are still alive. Well, I take that back. My stepmom passed away a few years ago. But I didn't really. I knew her. Certainly, we knew each other, but I didn't spend a lot of time with my stepmom. But my mom and my dad and my stepdad are all going strong. I recently started living independently. It's stressing the hell out of me. I'm okay with cooking, but hate cleaning and scared of messing up the appliances and stuff. Yeah, cleaning is, I don't know. It's one of those things you just gotta do. Otherwise you're living like an animal, right? I have to say we have a the house that I'm in is big. We bought it, when my wife and I were a couple, and it had to have 4 people in it. Plus, my wife wanted a guest room, and we wanted an office for me. So it's 5 bedrooms. It's a big house. There's no way I could keep up with it myself. Even when Tammy was around, we couldn't keep up with it. we hired a person to come in every, I don't know, I want to say once a month, but it might have been even more than that, to clean it professionally. And I still have her come in because there's no way I could not keep up with this house. I clean it kind of every other week, and then have the professional come in and clean it once a month. It's always nice when she comes in and does it because it's so clean. It's so nice to have a super clean house. But yeah, it's too big for me to handle by myself. Kids try to help out, but the kids have got school and stuff. Well, the older one has work now, so the younger one has school. But that's not really their job. They help. I won't say they don't help, but they really shouldn't have to, as far as I'm concerned. Other than cleaning up any mess they make. There we go. Yeah, I can imagine. I live alone in our 3-bedroom family home. That's not a picnic. Yeah. It's not. It can get dirty fast, especially. And then we've got a dog, so that doesn't help. Soccer ball. Okay. Well, we're 3/4 of the way through this level. I think we're at a good stopping place. We'll finish it up next time. We've got the floors done, so that's a big job done. So we'll clean off this thing and that house and the dinosaur. It'll be fun. And I'll come up with more topics in between to regale you guys with and entertain you all. Or I'll just be my usual boring self. We'll see. What was that? The red floor is not done? What? Hang on a minute. Hey, stop it. What do you mean the red floor is not done? What did I miss? That's unacceptable. Oh. Okay, we got 2 more minutes. Can't have that. There you go. Now we're done. All right, you guys. Thanks for stopping in. If you stopped in, for those of you watching after the fact, hi guys. We do this on Sundays, Sunday morning my time. I can't really give you an exact time because it's really just whenever I finish recording my regular videos. But it's usually Sunday mornings. Take care, Evra. Thanks for stopping in, man. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, we'll stop. Yeah. If you guys have questions and stuff, feel free to post them in the things below. I'll get to them next week. Other than that, I will see y'all next week. So take care, you guys. See you later.